This is the Deal Room, part of the Endgame, Israel's tech M&A podcast. This is a bite-sized English roundup of the last month in Israeli tech deals. I'm your host, Sophia Tupolev, working at Deal Communications. We're here with my esteemed co-host, serial exited entrepreneur, venture capitalist, deal commentator par excellence, Zeevi Michel. Hi, Zeevi.
Hey, Sophie. Thank you. It's great being here again. For the guys who are new to this channel, our main channel is all about educational content about M&A, the Endgame, IPOs, mainly for founders and management teams. Most of the content will be in Hebrew as we're targeting the Israeli tech market, but there is subtitles, so don't forget to follow, consume wherever you're consuming your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Great being here.
Awesome. So we're tallying up 10 deals that happened in June, bringing us to about 50 that we've tracked ourselves since the start of the year. I'm sure there are a few more that didn't make it into the headlines. And there's been about 7 billion in deal volume this year so far. We're about halfway through the year, excluding, of course, outliers like Wiz. But yes, that does include Melio. So 7 billion in deal volume. That's great. We're seeing more and more Israeli buyers in the mix, Zeevi, those blue and white deals that we keep talking about. And of course, continuing to see scale ups, pursuing those inorganic growth strategies with both local and foreign M&A. Zeevi, you want to mention some of the deals that we've seen come across in June?
We can see the same trend as the beginning of the year. We see almost any type or every type of M&A transactions we could possibly think. Like you said, internationals acquiring Israeli outlets, startups buying startups, Israel white and blue, like you said, deals. Very exciting. Really speaks to the strength of the ecosystem here, where we're also being acquired, but also being the buyer. We'll talk about several of the deals right now. I think the most notable deal in June is the deal of Melio being acquired by Xero, the Australian shop, again, reportedly for $2.53 billion. So congrats to Matan and team for this amazing deal and for all the hard work since 2017. I think this deal is also very impressive because it continues the trend of having fintech but coming back. So we saw eToro IPOing last month. We saw Next Insurance being acquired by Munich Re. I think globally we see the fintech market bouncing back from the last couple of years of being very quiet and not that dynamic. But globally we see this changing, and therefore not a big surprise that the Israeli fintech companies are now in target to be part of this dynamic market. So very exciting. I think, this is a very successful deal to everybody, all the parties, even though the last round was reportedly to be at a $4 billion valuation. So presumably the acquisition was at a lower valuation. But I'm pretty sure everybody, even the late stage, the founders and all the people around the table were very excited about this deal. So congrats. I think the second deal that is highly, highly interesting to look at is the Wix deal acquiring Base44. Less for the numerical amount of the deal, but rather what this deal represents also potentially on a global scale as we enter this era of Gen AI and AI companies and agentic companies being formed. We're hearing more and more about companies of few people, one founder, 5 people, etc., generating significant amount of revenues. And now for the first time, even on a global scale, we see a company like this that haven't raised any external capital, less than 1 year, less than 5 people being acquired by a giant, publicly traded company, or even though it's an Israeli one, Wix, for what is reportedly $80 million. So for the folks listening, imagine the ROI, imagine the IRR, imagine whatever acronym you want. This is a very interesting deal. I think it's a good deal for Wix also from a strategic standpoint, but more interestingly to point out is really wondering, is this what we're going to start seeing more and more in the future, those types of deals of not a lot of people not have been raising funds from the VCs or the traditional investors and very quickly creating a liquidation event. So congrats. I think that's highly impressive. Other points maybe to mention again, Cyera, again, a cyber tier one Israeli company who recently raised significant amount of funds, are utilizing those funds and probably also the high equity value of its stock to acquire companies for its inorganic growth or some complementary tech needed for its product. So this is the third. This month they acquired two companies, and this actually makes their third acquisition in 6 months. So again, very impressive. Not surprising given the fact that we are generating category leaders in the cyberspace globally, and therefore, we see the Israeli shops buying companies to augment themselves in Israel, but also outside of Israel. Celebrate yet another good example of a scale-up, Israeli scale-up, that is looking for inorganic growth via acquisitions. They acquired what I believe is a foreign entity. I don't remember if they're US-based or European-based, but again, very impressive to see relatively big deal, $200 million reported.
Yeah, it was
And
actually
they,
an American company.
thank
So
you.
they
So,
bought an
yeah,
American company called Corellium for 200 million. So an Israeli company buying an American company, which is cool.
amazing.
And actually a lot
Yep.
of serial acquirers on that list. I mean, yeah, of course, like the Base 44 deal is very notable, but it's the second acquisition
Hmm.
that Wix has done this year. They bought Hour One just recently, and Cyera, you mentioned, is also a serial acquirer. There's a number of serial acquirers on that list, which is great, you know?
Yep. Agree.
Customers coming back.
Yeah, maybe besides. However, if there's one thing to notice in the last 6 months is if we exclude the Wiz deal being acquired by Google, we're actually seeing as of now less of the big five being active in Israel. So the Microsoft, the Googles, the IBMs, etc. of the world. Um, I don't think it's deliberate. I think it's just a matter of, natural course of business. But we do see other outlets coming and basically filling in the gap, at least from the amount of deals that we see in Israel. So very impressive. Again, one deal, sorry, I forgot about in the fintech space, Tipalti, an Israeli company acquiring Statement, which is also an Israeli company. So congrats to Idan and team. Also very relatively short journey for Statement, less than 3 years, perhaps 4 years. And again, I think a lot of the players, the more scale-ups, either the Israelis or foreigners, are looking for strong teams, for strong technological capabilities, sometimes, inorganic growth. So everything we're talking about in the podcast, you can see literally happening every month. So that's extremely exciting. And I think the last shout out is, given the fact that we have had a very difficult month here in Israel in June with all that has been happening more on the macro level. The fact that we see deals still being reported, the fact that we see deals being happening, even though probably most of those deals were in the making prior, just speaks volumes to the strength of the tech ecosystem here in Israel. And the dynamics just, keeps on rolling and it's all the same. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think before we wrap, I want to mention one other deal that's actually quite notable. I like to see how, we see Olim coming to Israel, immigrants coming here and prospering and creating companies, selling companies. We talked about a company that was sold a couple months ago that was an immigrant founder. And here we actually had one deal that didn't get a lot of publicity, but there's a B2C app called Yango Deli, which was acquired for $40 million, Israeli on Israeli deal, by a company that's not very well known called MNW Group, and it's actually owned by an immigrant to Israel. So that was a cool deal that caught my attention when I was reviewing
Awesome.
the docket. So yeah, good stuff is happening. It's
Everything,
exciting times,
everything,
and we're
everything moves on. So that's great. And I think,
halfway through the
you know,
year.
exactly. Not surprisingly, I'm assuming July and August will be slightly slower. Obviously with summer breaks all over the world. But we will come back again and report maybe end of August, just because it's probably going to be quiet. But
Yeah, I think we'll
Looks
come back
promising.
at the end of August and we'll look back at what happened over the summer. Maybe we'll be surprised. But yeah, that's a wrap for this month. Those were the deals in June, 10 deals. We'll see you next time at the end of the summer talking about what happened in July and August. And send this to a founder friend. Follow our LinkedIn page. And of course, subscribe to the Endgame, Israel's Tech M&A podcasts, wherever you get your shows. That's a wrap, folks. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you.